Let us discuss about process of country risk analysis now. We have discussed in the previous slide what is country risk. We can say country risk is the risk that we have to bear when we are doing the trade in foreign countries, or we can say cross country borders. There are many types of risks that are involved under the country risk. They may be technological risks, political risk, economic risk, social risk, religious risk, and many other types of risk. But the main types of risk that could be covered under this is divided into two types, that is economic risk and the economic risk and the political risk. Now let us discuss about how or what is the process of country risk analysis. The process of country risk analysis are as follows. Number 1, oversight by the board of directors. The board of directors of an institution should be responsible for approving and periodically reviewing the policies governing the institution's international activities to ensure that they are consistent with the institution's strategic plans and goals. The board of directors, or we can say the board, is also responsible for approving and reviewing country exposure limits and ensuring that management of the institution is adhering to the policies and implementing appropriate measures to identify, monitor, and control country risk. So, the board of directors should give an oversight to all the rules and regulations, to all the plans, the strategic plans and goals of the organization, of the firm in which they are doing their or they are serving. After this, the second step involves policies and procedures for managing country risk. The management of an institution is responsible for implementing sound, well-defined policies and procedures for managing country risk. The policies and procedures should set out as the institution's business strategy in cross-border activities, the overall limits and the sub-limits for the cross-border exposures, clear lines of responsibility and accountability for the country risk management decisions, the standards and criteria to be used to analyze the risk of particular countries, the authorized activities, investments and instruments, and the desirable and undesirable types of business. Management should also ensure that the policies, standards, and practices are clearly communicated to the affected officers and the staff. It means at the end we can say that these are all the policies and the procedures that should be set out by the managing directors or by the managers of the organizations, and it is not the activities of the managers or the responsibility of the manager is not end up after setting the policies only. They have to also ensure that these policies and standards are clearly communicated to the persons who are going to actually be affected with these policies and procedures. After this, the third step involves country exposure reporting system. Each institution must have a reliable system for capturing and categorizing the volume and nature of cross-border exposures. The reporting system should cover all aspects of the institution's operations. The report on the level of cross-border exposures should be provided to the board of directors regularly. Exposures to individual countries that exceed 30% of the institution's own funds should be reported to the board at least quarterly. The fourth step includes country risk analysis process. Institutions are expected to have an effective country risk analysis process to assess the risk associated with each country. In which they are conducting or planning to conduct business. Although the level of resources devoted to the process may vary depending on the size and sophistication of an institution's international operations. Full stop. In assessing the risk of a country, the institutions should consider both the quantitative and the qualitative factors of the country. For example, let us consider an example for this: the size and the structure of the country's external debt, the quality of the policy making function, social and political structure or the stability, and the legal and regulatory environment of the country. Institutions may make use of internal and external sources for assessing the country risk, but they should conduct their own country risk assessment instead of relying entirely on the external assessment, because each and every business has their own rules and policies, and holding their own characteristics, they should assess internal environment first, and then they should rely on the external assessment of the environment. During the times of instability, institutions should up their analysis more frequently and expand the scope of their country risk analysis as necessary. So this is that they have to analyze the country risk properly with following some particular steps or the process. After this, they should move to country risk ratings. Institutions should have a system to integrate the results of their country risk analysis into their internal assessment of repayment capability of borrowers. For those institutions that have significant cross-border exposures, they should consider establishing a formal country risk rating system to summarize the conclusions of the country risk analysis process. Country risk ratings should be assigned at least annually to every country in which institutions have substantial exposures. The ratings can provide a framework for establishing country exposure limits that reflect the institution's tolerance for the risk. They can also be used to determine the appropriate level of provisions for cross-border exposures. So, country risk ratings should be provided to the institutions so as they could decide upon that in which country they need to invest and how much risk they could absorb. Accordingly, they could invest in the different countries. Sixth includes country exposure limits. Institutions should have a system for establishing, maintaining, and reviewing country exposure limits, which usually reflect a balancing of the following considerations. What are the considerations that should be considered under this? These are the institution's overall strategy on international activities, the country's risk rating and the institution's appetite for risk, the perceived business opportunities in the country, and the desire to support the international business needs of domestic borrowers. These are some of the considerations that should be taken care of while setting the limits to the country exposure. Country exposure limits should be approved by the board of directors or a committee and communicated to all the affected departments and staff. The limits should be reviewed and approved at least annually and more frequently when concerns about a particular country arise. After this comes monitoring country conditions. Institutions should have a system in place to monitor current conditions in each of the countries where it is significantly exposed. The level of resources devoted to monitoring conditions within a country should be proportionate to the institution's level of exposure and the perceived level of risk. The information gathered in this process should be properly maintained in the country risk analysis files. If the institution maintains an in-country office in the foreign country, a report from the local staff will be a valuable resource for monitoring the country conditions. In addition, periodic visits by the regional or the country manager to a country or to the borrower's overseas production lines are also important to monitor the country conditions or individual exposures. The communications between senior management and the responsible country managers should be regular and ongoing. There should also be procedures for dealing with exposures in troubled countries, including contingency plans for reducing the risk and, if necessary, exiting the country. Next step includes stress testing. Institutions should periodically stress test their foreign exposures and report the results to the board of directors and senior management. The testing should include an evaluation of the impact on an institution's country risk exposures under different scenarios. The level of resources devoted to this effort should be commensurate with the significance of foreign exposures in the institution's overall operations. The use of sophisticated financial modeling tools is not compulsory under this. It means we can do the stress testing by our own ways. It is no specific rules and procedures, no specific tools and techniques have been mentioned here for doing the stress testing. And the last here includes internal controls and audit. Institutions should ensure that their country risk management process includes adequate internal controls and that audit mechanisms are available to ensure that the information for senior management and the board to monitor compliance with country risk policies and exposure limits is true and accurate. For example, the system of internal controls should ensure that the responsibilities of marketing and lending personnel are properly segregated from the responsibilities of personnel who analyze the country risk, rate country risk, and set the country limits. So we can say that we can follow 9 steps in the process of analyzing the country risk. And these were the 9 steps through which we could properly analyze the country risk and should try to mitigate this type of risk while dealing or trading in foreign country.